Hi, everyone. Let me just set up Instagram because I like to go live on both places. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Hang on, let me get this set up too. Okay. Hey. All right, I am wearing clothes. I'm wearing a dress. I wanted to go put on clothes just in case a nip slip or something. Welcome. This is the weekly Money, Sex, and God Q&A. It's my favorite part of the week because I really get to just kind of respond to what you guys need, what is coming up for you in your life around money, sex, God, relationships, polarity, truth, trauma, like, you name it, right? So whatever is present for you, you can type in what's coming up for you, and I will do my best to answer. Now, just a quick, brief disclaimer. I don't think I actually know anything, right? So, and I also don't believe that I'm even here, but that's a different layer. And so everything that I give you, everything that comes out of my mouth in the next half hour, 45 minutes, is really just like a channel download. And it's not right. It's not wrong. It's neither. My intention with this is to connect with you and to perhaps see what shows up when you ask the question, what kind of intuitive hit I get, and I'm just going to roll with that. Okay, I'm not much of a thinker. Those of you that know me, I'm way more of a feeler. So I'm going to be doing that. So asking questions, I have a bunch of questions backlogged from last week, so I'm going to start with those. And then while I'm answering, you can type in whatever questions come up for you. If there's anything going on in your life that you need support around, we can play there, okay? Okay, here's a fun question. I don't remember who asked this. I didn't write down the names, but it says, "Hi, Genevieve. After an intense Kundalini awakening during a plant ceremony, I felt a bit scared by the power I felt moving through my body. Yeah, I experienced it, but didn't really feel safe to feel it. Any tips for being with energy that feels too much? Thank you." Okay, awesome. That's such an amazing question. And congratulations on tapping into the essence of your being, of that power. Congratulations on remembering it and finding it and being one with it. And yeah, most people are afraid of it. I mean, it's why patriarchy exists. It's scary, right? It's scary to be that powerful and to have feminine energy I know this was written by a woman, so to have feminine energy that is actually that powerful, it disrupts everything. I talked about this yesterday on my interview with Michael. Yeah, it can be quite the disruptor. Now, you mentioned tips. You were asking about tips for being with that energy of feeling too much. Yeah, this is where you get to cultivate your inner masculine or your inner yang energy or your inner ground. And so there's a lot of things that you can do. I teach a good bit of them. But in general, focus on the sacral, low sacrum area, focus on the root, focus on the legs and the feet, and really kind of hone into that grounding. Titrate yourself, right? So you can go for a walk in the park and earth and ground your feet against the earth, and then just ask yourself, like, you can set a timer and ask yourself to feel fully for 5 minutes. That's kind of a long time for newbies. For 1 minute, feel fully. It could be pain, it could be grief, it could be anger, it could be turn on, it could be happiness and joy, but titrate it. Like, let yourself just have a bit, and then go back to your regular conditioning, right, of how you know how to hold. And then little by little, keep playing with that. I know for me, when I first learned how to hold this energy, and I love that you're asking this, because if the energy is not held, then it becomes toxic femininity. And, well, toxic femininity, right? I don't know how much I really believe in anything toxic, but it becomes a femininity that's ungrounded, which could look like manipulation tactics. It could look like fleeing, like leaving very quickly. It could look like, using sex to get things, right? It could look like that. There is, that exists. And so I love that you're asking about the grounding. I think to sum up, my answer to that one is ground in, find the feet. You can have someone help you. Like when I first found this power, I needed a coach to hold me in it, because I was like, what is happening? I mean, it literally, that sexual energy, that erotic energy will transform your entire life. And it does it in a very like Shakti, like I'm gonna fuck everything up, right? Like, oh no, I meant Shiva. Yeah, like the chaotic, like I'm just gonna totally annihilate. So yeah, it is scary. It is scary. And the body also has to get used to pulling that through it. So I would say take your time, titrate it, find support, find a coach if you can. And if you don't have a coach, then just work on grounding, right? Getting out in nature, finding your feet, moving slower. All that good stuff. All right, I'm gonna see if there's any other questions, and if not, I'm gonna answer another one that's backlogged from last week. I'm gonna look on Instagram. Agora, I don't entirely understand your question on Instagram. You said, what is matched spirituality and sex? I don't quite know what that means. So if you could give me more so that I can respond. Matched spirituality and sex. I mean, to me, conscious sex is all spiritual. When we go into unconscious, then we just fall back into conditioning and we're no longer in our truth and our oneness. So that's kind of my quick answer to that without really understanding the question. Let me see if there's any other questions pulling up. No, okay, so this is your time, guys, just to ask me any questions on money, sex, or God. I will do my best to answer them, knowing that I'm not really here and I don't know anything and there's no teaching, right? But just playing with this energy, playing with the back and forth, because it's nice for me to receive these. So another question that I got from Backlogged. Okay, this is a good one. She says, I'm unsure of the relationships in my life, and my inner knowingness is telling me to detach from the men in my life that I keep thinking about. Cool. What's the best way to get in touch with my inner self and intimacy and get my fire going on my own? Beautiful, beautiful awareness. Whoever asked this question, really stunning, amazing. Your inner knowingness is already there. So I'm assuming you have a little bit of a practice already, because that inner knowingness means that there's a certain amount of embodiment that you're living into in your body. The best way to get in touch and really get that line, that compass clean, is a daily self-pleasure practice, right? This is something I can shout from the rooftops because it completely changed my life, and continues to do so. It's the one thing that I will not do. I'm gonna do it as soon as I get off of here because I was out and about today. But it is so important. Now, there's different, the conditioning is that we all utilize sexuality in our society in one way, and it's usually orgasm based, and it's usually like if I tell a woman to go self-pleasure, she's going to go straight for her genitals most likely, and that's only about 25% of women, 20-25% of women that actually want that. So what I would encourage you to do when honing your self-pleasure practice is to first figure out what your erotic blueprint is. There's 5 erotic blueprints. They all have different touch that the body most wants in order for the nervous system to fully relax. So I've mentioned them a million times. I'll go through them very quickly. The energetic, in order for the nervous system to relax and open into pleasure, the energetic needs light touch. So a self-pleasure practice would be that. You could play like energetic music, like tantra music, You could also place a hand on the heart. You could also keep your hands off your body. If I do that, I get super. Can you tell I'm energetic primarily? Then there's sensual. Sensual is going to be contoured touch. It's going to be slower. I'm a shapeshifter, which is the last one. It means that I like all of this. But this is the sensual, nice, sweet contour touch. I like to play like really romantic music, and I'll touch myself this way. Notice how I'm not even going genital focused yet, right? There's the kinky, which is scratching, which is smacking, which is pulling the hair, choking. For me, my kinky comes out more psychologically. So if I'm, touching myself sensually, I can add in a psychological kink by thinking about being dominated, thinking about being owned. That for me will get my nervous system relaxing, expanding, pleasure, that my pleasure quota will increase, right? And then there's the sexual blueprint. Sexual is you're going to go straight for the genitals. This is again about 20% of women. So, it might be you. And if it is you, rock on, keep using the vibrators and the dildos and do all that. And it might not be you, right? If it is you, celebrate. Go get some sex toys. Awesome. Like I said, I like all of them, so I can definitely go there too. Just go straight for the G spot, right? And then the shapeshifter, you like all of them all at once. Self-pleasure for a shapeshifter, I'm learning because I recently expanded into a shapeshifter. Self-pleasure for me lasts like 3-4 hours now a day. It's pretty intense. But what it does is while I'm self-pleasuring, I can go into this place of all the conditioning of who I think I am. I get rid of all the conditioning of who I think you are, of how I think the world is. I'm in pleasure, but I'm also in grief, and I'm also in anger, and I'm also in happiness all at once. Like there's this beautiful fullness of it. And then I'm trying to fix my tea thing. This is my sensual meeting. Okay. And then what happens is once that connection occurs, right, and you can work to create this connection sooner and faster. Like now I just need to kind of place one hand on my pussy and one on my heart, and I can get it. Then any questions that you have, any things that feel unsure, any place where you want to rev yourself up, you have everything that you need inside of you. Like it's all already right here. Even if it's like this deep question, even if it's what's my mission on the planet, like we can find those here, right? We don't have to go searching outside of ourselves anymore, right? I even been thinking about the last couple of days. A lover told me that you can actually activate the DMT through cervical orgasms. So now, of course, that's my challenge for the month is like I'm just constantly poking my cervix and going into energetic space, right? But what if like all this plant medicine stuff, and what if all these things that we're using, this yoga, this meditation, it's all beautiful and it's part of the human experience to get to taste and try and feel and be in it. But what if everything outside of us is just a mirror and a reflection of what's inside of our internal capacity? So what if all we have to do is find it inside of us and unlock it? What if you can have an ayahuasca journey in your living room with your hand on your pussy, right? Which, by the way, it's happening. It's happened. It's available. So that we can release the seeking and we can simply lie back. And when I'm in my self-pleasure, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, I really hope I get that thing where I like connect to the cosmic universe and stars start happening, right? Instead, I'm in this place of letting go fully to what my body wants and desires. And then the intelligence of my innate essence comes through. And then in that, I get downloads, right? I know exactly what to do, where to go. I get names of people that I'm supposed to connect with. I get the next thing to do in my business. It's a certain type of magic that we've been conditioned against. And I think about it every day, the effect that we can have on the planet if everyone wakes up to this magic that's inside of us? We don't have to seek it. Like, what a beautiful effect, right? What becomes possible when everyone has everything that they need, right? And then they don't have to grab or pull or hold on. We know that everything that we need is right here, right? That's what sex does. That's why I get to talk about sex all day long, right? Because that's the magic that we get to have. Okay. Thank you for that question, whoever asked that. I really appreciate it. I'm going to start putting names next to these questions. I see someone live who asked a question. Oh, hi, Cadell. Guys, Cadell Last is amazing. We did a interview last week on sexual perversion. It was awesome. So scroll down or go to my YouTube channel. You can find it. And we're doing another one on Monday about morality and sexuality. And that's going to be really fun. Okay, let's see if I can understand your questions. You think more than I do, so let's play with it. It's easier face-to-face with you because I can feel your energy. So he said, what do you think about spiritual forms that view sexuality as antagonistic with enlightenment or anti-enlightenment? Cool, thank you. Good question. So again, I'm not much of a thinker, so I don't think much, but I feel. I'll tell you what I feel. My experience is that enlightenment and spirituality come from a place of living in the fullness of yourself, of taking all of you. That includes your pain, your sorrow, your anger, your sadness. I mean, that's why in ayahuasca ceremonies, you're purging, right? Like being all of you and bringing it up, right? Like by feeling it fully, then that energy lifts up and shoots up through your body. Sexuality is the piece that's often missing in a lot of these enlightenment worlds. So you're making me get a little controversial here, Cadell. Okay, here I go. Right. So in these places where we're bringing people to enlightenment, which I don't really think is possible anyways, but let's say we're in one of those, like we're on a retreat, right? Because we're missing the sexual component of it, the enlightenment is becoming disembodied. And it's as if what we're doing is we're actually dying, like our physical body is no longer mattering, and we just float up into this ultimate seeing universe, right? What's missing, because the embodiment is missing, the enlightenment, we have to keep seeking to find it. Like we have to go and do it again and do it again and do it again, right? Which was my experience before my sexual awakening. I'd like have a weekend of like bliss and then I'd come back and I was like, fuck, right? And that doesn't mean that like when you're sexually awakened, life is only amazing. But what it does mean is that there is an ability to stay embodied in truth that I think is missing from these anti-sexuality places. I also feel that sexuality is our birthright, like it's part of being a human. So if I miss out on that, just like I miss out on food and water, then I might as well not be on the planet. Like if I want to achieve enlightenment without sexuality, I don't need to be alive. I can go do that out in the universe, right? But being in a physical being body, I want to play with my body. I want to be in my body and experience the nervous system and the nerve endings and the pleasure that's available to me, right? So I think it's, and the thing with the disembodied spirituality that happens a lot also is I find this often where people will become enlightened, but because there is no, I had someone on Instagram just comment that I have a very open second chakra, which is true, because there is no rooting. They're flying, right? So they're spiritually enlightened, but they're disembodied, and so nothing's actually getting done on the planet. So this stereotype of a person will show up, having trouble making money. They're going to show up having trouble making decisions. They're going to be hard to really ground into like a home, creating structure, creating container. And it's not needed. We don't need it, right? We don't need any of that. But in my opinion, to be human means to live the fullness of humanity, which means being in that earth energy as well as in that enlightened energy. And the cool thing about sexuality is it can transmute you either flying out into the cosmos or deeply in your body, or often both at once. And the first time I ever felt that both at once feeling was when I had my mentor had her fingers on my yoni, and I remember flying out into the universe, and then she pressed just a little deeper on my yoni, and then I felt myself in my body and flying out into the universe at the same time. And I was like, whoa, that is something that I never had with any sort of plant medicine or drugs or fasting ceremony or anything else that I've done to clear out myself, right? That feeling is pretty incredible because it's being here and there in reality at the same time. So thank you for your question. I hope I answered it appropriately. I just saw that I have chocolate on my desk, so I'm gonna eat it while I talk to you guys. Oh, and not kill Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. I love you guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm a mess. It's amazing. Oh, it's so good. It has almonds in it and sea salt. Just like salted dark chocolate is the best idea ever. This is what I mean, like human. That's me being human. All right, Julia. I don't know if this is a question, but I'll read it out loud. Hi, Julia. Julia is a fellow erotic blueprint coach. Hey, love. She says, yay, Genevieve, I'd love your take on having pleasure when you also have chronic physical pain, especially when there's emotional charge associating with the pain. Like, why me? I should have done better to heal this, etc. For me, I have some neck and arm pain that interferes with self-pleasure. Yeah, thank you. This is a brilliant question. The pain is also the pleasure. The pain comes from resisting the sensation. So as best you can, allow the pain. Surrender into the pain. Get curious about the pain. Be in the pain. Accept the pain and love the pain. I have a chronic virus in my system that I've had probably my whole life, but it activated after trauma a few years ago. And sometimes it'll come up, I'll get it sometimes, and I'll get the symptoms. And the symptoms feel like death, like it's pretty intense. And lately it's been this very fun thing where the pain will come into my body and I'll talk to it. And I'm like, hey, what's up? What do you need? What are we doing? And I get to just like accept it fully and honor it. And pleasure becomes different. Sometimes pleasure looks like curling myself up in a ball with a blanket and crying. Sometimes pleasure looks like feeling my orgasm maybe only internally and not up through the rest of my body. Like sometimes I don't want to run it up through my body when the virus is there. Sometimes it looks like not touching and just breathing. So I get to play with it as if it's this fun new thing to try on because it's kind of what humanity is. And I get it. Like, I know this is similar, Julia, to what I was just talking about with the spiritual community. Like, there's a point in which we get to stop chasing the pleasure and a point in which we get to stop chasing the enlightenment. And because there's not really anywhere to get to, right? So once we stop that, then no, life isn't constantly pleasure, but it is constantly orgasm. It does get to be constantly feeling. It does get to be constantly riding waves and feeling waves of whatever's coming up, right? So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm looking at comments. The pain is also the pleasure. Imagine bringing the sexual pleasure into my painful areas. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, pain and pleasure. I talked about this on my interview with Cadell. It's the wiring is like just slightly different. So you can totally wire it. which is really fun. And also to look at pain as not bad, right? To start teaching ourselves that we're not bad when we have pain, or like when my virus pops up, I go into, oh, I shouldn't have this virus. I'm a sex coach, and I should be healed, right? And that's not, we don't get healed. We don't really do that. And so instead I look at it as like, oh, the energy is different today. Cool. What energy do I want to play in with this? How do I want to maneuver with this energy of achiness? And then I just go there. Right. Love that. All right. I don't have a client right after like I normally do, so I can keep playing. And I've got two more questions that are backlogged, but you guys can ask questions as they come up. I'm going to take another bite of chocolate. Oh, God. I'm just like an orgasm. Like, everything is just wired to it now. It's so good. All right. Another question. This is a really interesting one. This is an anonymous one. My ex-boyfriend and I have continued to have sex since breaking up at the end of February, and it's been phenomenal. Awesome. But now he wants to get back together, and I just want sex. However, I'm still in love with him. So my heart is torn when I'm with him. My heart and body says yes to him, and my mind says no. I don't think the benefits of amazing sex outweigh the emotional damage, but I want to hear your take if you can make heads or tails of what I just wrote, because it's difficult to explain and I'm half asleep. Okay. So what this sounds like to me is that your mind is trying to put like conditional descriptors on how you're relating with this man, right? There's a freedom that we get to experience here where, first of all, the idea of being in love with someone, my take on it is that I'm in love with everyone. My take on it is that I love everyone. And so like love is just a beingness. So to assign value to being in love with someone feels redundant, because your beingness, darling, is love. Of course you're in love. You're in love with the world. Right? And wanting sex is also duh, because it's sex. Now I want you to just think about this for a moment, or just feel into this. What part of you wants the sex? If you can identify it in your body, I want you to feel into what actually wants your sex. Is it your pussy? Is it your heart? Is it your stomach? Is it your neck? Is it your toe? Like, what part of you is saying yes to the sex? Because I want you to listen to that to see if what might be needed here is some wiring of the different areas of your body. So if your heart is in love, which it should always be open, basically, right? Unless the person across from us is not receiving our love, then we'll close, right? But a sexually awakened woman gets to always be in love with everyone. So in love, the sex is turned on, right? The mind is saying no. I'm curious if the pussy actually really wants it or not. I want you to get more in touch with her. Like, spend some time listening to her, take a bath, feel into her, I'm doing a self-pleasure challenge, guys, coming up on June 17th. That'll help. It'll help guide your inner compass. Self-pleasure challenge, just for a little plug, people love it. I haven't done it in a while because it takes a lot to do it, but people love it, so stay on for it. It's usually a big, massive group of awesome people. If you haven't worked with me before, it's a great way to work with me. June 17th for a week, so just stick it in your calendar. Yeah, and anyway, so that will help, because that'll get you in touch with, what does my pussy actually want, right? Where am I actually being guided here? And what's amazing is the more that you listen to your pussy and awaken and heal the patterning that you may have in your yoni, in your sex. Heal, uncover, discover the patterning, right? The more that you do that, the easier it'll be to make these types of decisions, right? So I would go back into yourself, get out of your head. I don't care what your mind says, what you're thinking about, right? Like, get out of your head. And I want to really listen into the yoni. I know that this person that wrote this and I have a session coming up, so we'll do some work around this. But yeah, awesome. Okay, do I have any more questions? Nope, those are all my backlogged questions. Checking into you guys to see if you have any questions for me, and then if not, I will pop off. I'm gonna have another bite of chocolate. I'm gonna read this comment. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, Phoebes. I don't think that's actually your name, but I like calling you Phoebes, so I'm gonna call you Phoebes. Maybe it's like Phoebe. Are you Phoebe? I don't know. Okay, so Phoebes says, I totally resonate about the flying sensation while also feeling embodied during physical pleasure. Yeah, it's amazing, right? I feel in a shapeshifter blueprint, word. My energy with money and God feels good, and I'm happy in my sexuality. But how do I attract lovers that resonate with me? Oh, Phoebes, are you in my brain today? I've been thinking about this all day. This is the thing. This is the thing. I don't know your gender. I don't know any of your history. But shapeshifters. Shapeshifters who have it all, which is me, which is sounds like you. We get to be fully satisfied with ourselves because we have like, our sexuality is great, we have the money, we've got the spiritual connection, everything's amazing. I want you to ask, why a lover? What will the lover bring you? The lover that resonates with you. So what I found in shapeshifters is they have often found, or that often what happens is lovers either get intimidated by them because they are the Stradivarius of the erotic blueprints, right? They're amazing to play. They have done the work to expand their nervous system. They are like, at least a shapeshifter with no shadow, right? They're like, that's great. It's amazing and awesome. They also have learned how to pleasure themselves if they're outside of their shadow, right? So, you know, like me as a shapeshifter, I am very happy with myself. I'm good, I got it, right? Like, I know my instrument really well. If I want to call in a lover who resonates with me, my work, it's amazing that you're asking this because I just came up with this like yesterday. So I love how the universe just poof all the time. If I want to call in a lover that resonates with me, and is vibrating with me and is going to bring me things that I want to play in and explore and get curious about, what I need to do, because I'm already sovereign and fully satisfied in my beingness and understanding that I'm actually nothing and they're actually nothing, and I'm living in that world where nothing really matters, what I get to do to play in is figure out, what will this lover bring me? What am I going to get? How will this enhance what's already here? Because a lot of times shapeshifters come from this place of feeling that they want a lover because they feel like they should have one, because they go around and they see everyone else having lovers, right? Now, I highly recommend getting another shapeshifter lover or being poly, right? One of the two, so that you can actually get your needs met from, fully from other as well as yourself. But I want you to think about, like, why is it important? If you have everything right now, what is it that you want? And it could be something as simple as being that upfront, right? I did a voice memo recently I asked a man literally, like, what I want, like, these are the things that I want in my life to enhance it. Are you willing? And it was very direct and very communicative and beautiful. I didn't get a response yet. I'll let you guys know. But we get to be really clean and clear with it. when our sexuality is no longer a need, when it's a choice of who we engage with sexually. Because we're so full, we get to be really clean with who we bring in, right? Okay, I think that's it. Anyone else have questions? I'm going to take another bite of chocolate, and then if not, I'm going to disappear. So just to make that plug again for, oh my God, guys, it's so good. The Self-Pleasure Challenge, it starts on June 17th. It's a week. It's amazing. Those of you that have done it, you can comment with what was amazing about it. It's the beginning of unraveling your magic. It's awesome. So that starts June 17th. It's on Facebook. There will be an investment, but it's like crazy low. The investment's really just so that you exchange energy with me. But again, it's more of a gift to you with how low it is. So get on there. I'll be advertising for that probably next week. You'll see some ads and I'll talk about it more. And I have one spot available for coaching, for one-on-one coaching, serious inquiries only, please. It's a significant time and investment. And it is the fast track to remembering yourself, your power. I will hold you to that, and I will hold your energy to that. We work with your body. So I work in packages, and I get intimate, and we get close, and magic happens. It's the best. Anyway, I have one spot left. I just actually opened up some more spots in July too, because I realized how much I love working with my clients. And so I'm delegating out other tasks so that I can just be with you guys. So anyways, taking interviews for that. There is an interview process because it is a pretty strong container. So please make sure that you do interview if you're interested. And I will post the link here. Again, serious inquiries only. Let me know what's coming up for you on when you book your appointment. There'll be like some questions that I'm going to want you to answer to make sure that we're already in alignment before we jump on the call. So, all right, loving you guys. Thank you. This was a really fun Q&A. Thanks for contributing and showing up and feeding me. And yeah, I will be here next week. 3 o'clock next Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific. And in the meantime, I hope your life is full of pleasure, truth, joy, and love. Ciao, bellas.